We're rolling.
Welcome back to episode 37 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, everybody. Sponsored by Fightback CBD. Get 20% off your CBD order at fightbackcbd.com with code JJD. My name is Milton Campus, flying solo with Bo today. Purple belt, Fight Sports Coral Springs. You can check me on Instagram at Uncle Milty BJJ. Today, we're going to be joined by 10th Planet Black Belt, Brandon BMAC Mccaghren.
Ooh.
All right. Very well known in our community.
I know
Bo.
you gave me the debrief.
So stay tuned, everybody.
Because I got my head up my butt.
Well, we got to get you out on the mat pretty soon, brother.
I could just know who's who, at least.
Well, we're going to learn you.
You're going to learn.
We are also sponsored by Technique.io, Tekneek.
That's some cool stuff. That's cool.
Now it's getting interesting.
After watching you guys play with it a couple of times, that's really cool.
Well, so cool that they're venturing outside of just martial arts and using it for like people that train animals, like submit a video of your animal, submit a video of anything that could use a review. So they're kind of extending outside of jiu-jitsu. But for us, think Cameo for martial arts. All right. You can upload your training or competition video and you'll get professional feedback from a pro. Pretty simple.
Just do for like car mechanics and
I don't know how far
sex.
you can take it. Wait, whoa. That's Bo. Think pros like Robert Drysdale, Elliot Marshall, who used to fight in the UFC. Next week's guest, Erin Hurley. She's on there as well. Jiu-Jitsu Dummies are on there. So if you want to submit a video like we did on last week's episode.
You get a review from...
And we might actually do ours on air. You know,
other than you guys, you get a review from people who know what they're talking about.
Yeah, you're going to get tips and tricks and things like that. Yeah, not just the dummies. We named ourselves the Dummies for a reason, guys. Again, if you choose us, we're not guaranteeing that we'll have it on the air like we did with Miguel's, but if it's a good video, we'll do it at the end of an episode. Okay, but check them out at Technique.io. The Instagram handle is the same as the website. So TEKNEEK.io. Huge shout out to Flow and Roll at flow_n_roll on Instagram. You get 20% off your online t-shirt, rash guard, or gi orders with code JJD at flowandroll.com. All right. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. We'll start out with our gym supporters. Carlson Gracie, Broward County in North Lauderdale, Florida. CarlsonGracieBrowardCounty.com. You can go check them out. Tell Big J that the Dummy sent you. John Way Martial Arts in Plantation, Florida. These are basically outside of the main city of Fort Lauderdale if you don't know Florida. JohnWayMartialArts.com. John does more than jiu-jitsu there. Right? He's got Wing Chun, Kung Fu, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. The list goes on and on. MMA, conditioning, children, teens, adult classes. So check them out. Maybe we'll get you started there, Bo.
Sweet and sour
I could see you more as a kung fu guy.
Yeah.
To start, I kind of feel that.
I want to strike and kill people.
Why the Russian accent?
It's not a Russian. It is ancient Chinese. What are you talking?
We just lost all of Chinese listeners.
It's
all
okay.
of China.
We're at war with them anyway right now. So later, guys. It's some other time.
Our podcast patrons also include Robert Walker, Frank House, Wolsey Rivera, who sent us a question that we might answer on today's episode. Boa Athletics, check them out on IG at BOA_athletics. Michael Pixley Jr., Jason Smiley, Britt Tavar, James Fisher, CJ Carroll. Big shout out to Mission 22 doing big things for veterans. Chuck Reddoor and Roberto Santiago. Roberto, we love you for putting us together with some of these gym supporters, so we appreciate you guys. If you like to support the show, visit patreon.com/jiu-jitsu dummies. If you join, you'll be automatically entered to win. Every single month we do a $100 giveaway, whether it's from our podcast store or sponsor. Last month it was Fightback CBD.
How do we not have more patrons by this point?
They're coming. They're coming. We get
we
the
give
occasional.
away, like, the giveaways are ridiculous. They're constant.
Hey guys, it's how we
So
help
easy.
keep the show running.
Yeah.
So for as little as $5 a month, you can get entered into win $100 worth of
And
jiu-jitsu swag.
they get something big out of it. That's $100
We
bucks.
gave away a 3-pack
Right.
of Fight Back CBD. Actually, Justin wound up going above and beyond. He said choose just 3 products. So the young lady who
That's
won
those
last
bottles.
month. So it was. She chose 1 bottle of CBD. I think she did bath bombs, and I think she did the new rub that he has, like a CBD.
I do
like a
bath
bomb.
bombs too.
Yeah.
I think bloop, bloop, bloop.
So he let her choose 3 items instead of it just being the 3-pack of CBD, which is what I had expected. So
Nice.
the month before that, High Road BJJ, who's also a foundation supporter, he gave away some product. I think that was to Britt. Britt Tavar won that month. So
Cool.
Cool stuff. Again,
Yeah,
for
say
as
that's
little
what
as
I'm saying.
$5
It's
a
like-
month, we shout you out on the show, and you can win.
You're
I
always
think
winning something.
every
You're-
supporter has won at least once, and a lot of them have won twice. I mean, we've been doing this for going on 2 years in May, so probably 2-3 months in, we started doing the Patreon stuff. So,
Yeah.
so it's a great way to win stuff, guys. And again, it's either gear from the podcast store, jiu-jitsudummies.shop, Fight Back CBD. Flow and Roll is going to do something next month. We're actually doing a giveaway right now, $100 giveaway on our Instagram. So get on there before the end of the month. Do the whole tag 2 friends, like this post, like our page in Flow and Rolls, and then you're entered to win. So that's going to be $100 worth of stuff. I don't have one of his shirts on today. I've got our cool podcast shirts.
I don't have. I have a plain red one.
Ooh, now you do.
Wow.
I always love opening them first. So
More shirts.
I got something for you every week, bro.
Dude, cool. All right. I like that
This one
color
is,
too.
I had this one done. I am not going to lie. I pretty much fell in love with the whole retro style that
it's
Flow and Roll
very-
was doing.
Yeah.
So I had one of our designers. I said, "Give me something retro like that."
Yeah, that's
And
definitely.
and hopefully I'm actually talking to them about doing a Flow and Roll doing a shirt for us because I love
Very
their
cool.
stuff.
I like it.
I'll have one of their shirts on the next episode. All his retro stuff, skulls, kind of that that whole feel.
See,
Looks
I
like
don't-
hand drawn stuff. It's really cool.
I don't have to buy T-shirts for the next 20 years.
You won't. I'll keep you in t-shirts. Next time when you're in the store and you're looking at t-shirts, say no.
If you get them extra long, I won't wear pants either. I'll just wear T-shirts.
I will make sure to get them extra small.
Oh, you want to see it?
So, okay, if you'd like to support the show, again, visit patreon.com/jiu-jitsu dummies. I already did that one, didn't I? Join automatically, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, so no, the part that I missed was if you submit questions to the show, that month's giveaway, you're also entered in. We add your name to the hat. So that was the part that I was missing. So if you're a listener and you submit a question, you also get an entry into that $100 giveaway. All right. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share wherever you're watching or listening. It absolutely helps us. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to click the bell. Bo, you're not going to do the ding? Ding, ding. Click the bell on the page, and you get notifications each time we launch new videos. All right, guys. So let's get BMAC in here. Ready?
BMAC.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody. Joining us today is 10th Planet Black Belt, Brandon BMAC Mccaghren. How you doing, Brandon?
What's happening, man? Thanks for having me on.
I'm glad to have you, man. Thank you. It took us a couple weeks to get you on, but we did it.
Yeah, my bad. My bad.
Do you prefer BMAC? Does it Brandon BMAC? Does it matter? You don't care?
Dude, you could just make stuff up. You could change it every time. I'm just here to serve. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right, man. I like that, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. So you just said you're coming to us from Alabama, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right here. Where is your school? Is it 10th Planet Decatur? Is that your
Yes,
school?
that's right. Yeah, it's North Alabama. We're like 2 hours south of Nashville.
Okay. So there's a Decatur in Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay. See, isn't there a Decatur in Georgia? No.
And Illinois,
Oh,
probably
okay.
every state in the union,
All right.
bro.
Because I'm like Decatur, isn't it Decatur, Georgia? And then I saw Alabama. Okay, so all right. So,
Yeah. So if you've heard of Decatur before, you probably heard of one of the other ones. Not
Okay.
this one.
Yeah. I didn't do real good in school, So,
Feel that.
but all right. So you're coming to us from Alabama. Are you guys open there as far as a gym? I know with COVID. Are you like officially okay to train? Are you doing like everyone else? And it's like,
We're training, dude.
Yeah.
We're training.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're not really accepting a ton of new students right now.
Yeah.
So it's the ones that we have and that have been with us, we're training. We're allowing them to train,
Yeah.
but we're kind of just laying low. But we're open. We're open for business. So yeah,
You know
we opened in May. We shut for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And then when they opened contact sports in Alabama, we opened back up with that.
Okay, good.
Because they weren't going to let Alabama football not happen.
You have a riot on your hands.
Yeah, dude. Nick Saban called the governor up and was like, "Listen, Kay Ivey, here's the situation.
Yeah.
Roll Tide." And she's like, "I understand. Say no more." And I was like, "Well, we're going with Nick."
So I know down here in Florida, I was the day before I went into quarantine in March last year, I blew out my knee training with my coach.
The day before?
The day before I was doing it. There was a Sunday.
Dude, there's never been a better time to blow your knee out. Though.
I know. It was perfect timing. Because I probably would have trained.
Of course, because you're a psychopath, I'm sure.
I know my coach knows you. I'm not sure if you know my coach. Felipe Amarante, Vice Sports.
I do know Felipe,
You know Felipe, yes.
Yeah.
He's my coach.
Dude, I really like that guy. He's got a killer lockdown and electric chair.
I know he does not like that I have you on today. He was like, I see what you're doing. I see that you're going to get the secrets directly from the source. No, he had nothing but good things to say about you. He commented on one of my posts announcing you were coming on. He's an awesome dude. He is, lockdown's my thing now too. Lockdown is, from him. It's kind of my go-to, especially as kind of like a bigger guy. And in my gym, I hate like just jumping on the smaller guys and making them feel like I'm beating up on them. So hey, attack, and I get attack, and I love that lockdown. So I'm learning.
Hey, nobody mad at you for being big, dude.
Yeah.
If you're big, do it. Nobody gets mad at little guys for being fast. Smush them suckers.
It always irks me when somebody says like, "Oh, you're using too much strength," or "You're
using too much flexibility, bro."
Yeah, exactly. I never
same
got
problem.
That. Like we actually, it's funny because Felipe had to have a talk with the class one time when one of our purple belts, I think it was, told a white belt like, "Hey, there was a set of brothers that came in. One's white, one's blue, and these guys are strong, man. They're young, in their mid-20s." And the purple belt told him, he's like, "You're using too much strength. You got to calm down a little bit." But Coach lined us up at the end of class. Felipe lined us up and said, "Hey, listen, don't worry about that. Work on your defense. If he's too strong for you, then you work on your defense. Do something different. Don't tell him not to use his strengths." So
he's a white belt. What else is he gonna do?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So okay. So COVID, you guys are open. I was gonna say too. One of the things that happened down here. Again, I was out. I was driving to a point there, blew out my knee. When I went back, probably 7-8 months in, I show up and there's a sea of white belts. What happened is all the vets weren't. We had some vets that went in, but a lot of the vets just stayed home and quarantined, even though we weren't under strict mandates down here in Florida. But all these white belts showed up, and lots of people were looking for stuff to do, and again, showed up to this sea of new students and new faces, which I thought was awesome for jiu-jitsu in general. So hopefully that happens for you as well. Are people trying to come in, and are you turning people away? Right? It's happening?
Yeah. We're taking in new people, but it's like on a limited basis, like almost like an interview process. Like, okay, are you gonna create a problem? Have you been sick? But I don't know, man. My whole family had COVID. Like everybody in my house had it.
Really?
And nobody really got. I mean, I was tired for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And my wife didn't have any symptoms. My children didn't have any symptoms.
But you tested?
But we tested positive.
Oh wow.
But we did actually have a young guy that trains with us here that got it, and he got pretty sick.
Yeah.
But he's fine now. But so that's the only person that I know that's been actively, or that's young and healthy and athletic and that tries to take care of themselves, like actively, that actually got sick. But he recovered, but he did get sick, man. So I don't want to totally dismiss it, because if it can make that guy really sick, then okay, well, there's something going on for sure. So I think it's not a hoax or whatever.
I think I saw you on the McDojo show talking about, I think your first interview on the McDojo show, you talked about, you closed before you were really told to close, right? You took a little
we just
approach.
Didn't know what was going on, man. And it's before it turned political, and before people are like, if you are on this side, if you're on this team, then you're not my friend, and if you're on this team, you're not. Like before all that started, when it was just like, oh shoot, like there's a virus that's going around and trying to take everybody out. You know what? We're going to close just out of an abundance of caution. What we want 15 days to slow the spread. Okay, we can live for 15 days. We can do without for 15 days. And then it went to 3 months, and I mean, we just had to make a move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we had to make a move.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, I'm sure no one's ever seen anything like this before. So
yeah, it's been wild, man.
Well, let's kind of go back in time. Let's get in our time machine here. Tell us about how you got your start in martial arts, because jiu-jitsu isn't your only discipline, correct? You've done other martial arts before. Give us your history.
So I didn't have a background in any kind of martial arts or wrestling or anything growing up. My wife, actually, when we were 26 years old, I think. Might have been 25. But I'd gotten overweight. I was going to say a little bit, but I actually got real overweight. What's the word I'm looking? I was fat. But my wife sat me down on the couch and she said, listen, I did not marry you so I could spend the last 20 years of our marriage as a widow. I'm concerned about your health. I signed us up for martial arts classes. All right. So yeah, I'm loud and on the internet all the time. So people think I'm the 10th planet pioneer in the South, but it's actually my wife. She's a black belt also.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard a story like that. And it's almost always the other way around for us.
Yeah, I know, right?
I have
we started training at the same time, but it was her that spurred it on. I really didn't know. I mean, like, we watched the UFC. That's how much we knew.
Yeah.
And I had learned like an Americana and arm lock from people. Like, I had no idea what to do with them. I could just identify those things.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we signed up at a place called Webster's Karate. And we picked that spot because they had MMA classes on the weekends. I didn't want to do karate, but they grappled twice a week during the classes.
Yeah.
And they did MMA classes on the weekends. I was like, okay, this seems like a good one. And she's like, let's do it. So yeah, we got our black belts in Tung Sudo and Japanese jiu-jitsu over there. And then that was the location, actually. The back room at that spot was the first location for 10th Planet. Wow.
So give me the 10th Planet connection. How did that happen? Because
so my instructor at the time, Jamie, just an insane martial artist, like as good as an all around martial artist as I've ever met on the planet, but he's super open-minded. His objective is just to expose his students to martial arts, and then let them take the route that they're gonna fall in love with. And so mine was just right away. I was like, I like the grappling. I don't know why. Just something. I still don't know why. It's just like addictive. There's something addictive about it. Like I'm sick in the head or something.
You like joking people.
But you got to be to let somebody roll around with somebody and let them kill you every day.
Yeah, people sweating in your eyeball and stuff.
It's my favorite part.
And so yeah, Jamie was like, "Hey, I was a white belt in karate still. I was still a white belt in karate." Wow. He goes, "Hey, there's a guy named Eddie Bravo is teaching a seminar an hour and a half from here. You should go. If you learn something cool, bring it back and show me." And
freebie.
So me and one of my training partners at that time went down, and that's how I met Eddie. And I just stalked him for 10 years until he gave me a black belt, basically.
So he's from California, right? He was doing a seminar here. So how did you go out there and train? How did that happen? Did you move out there? I don't know the history.
So I stayed here in Decatur, and then I went out to LA and spent a couple of weeks. I flew a couple of his people out and just like learned from them for like a week. Like just had them stay with me for like a week. So like Chris Herzog was, he's a black belt under Eddie also. He runs Rochester, New York. And I was bringing him down he's a deep Sambo background, like 5th or 6th degree black belt in judo. Before he got into 10th Planet, he trained at Militich back in the day, super well-rounded martial artist. And I just built a good relationship with Chris initially too. And so I was learning a lot of the 10th Planet stuff and leg lock game from Chris when I was still a white and a blue belt. And then if I made myself a rule, like, okay, I want to be a black belt. I don't have there's no jiu-jitsu. Still to this day, there's no other jiu-jitsu school in our city. So if I wanted to learn, I had to go somewhere to learn.
Yeah.
And so I just made myself a rule. If Eddie's within a 10-hour drive, I'll be there. And so for about 10 years, I would see him 2 or 3 times a month.
So you weren't kidding. You stalked them for 10 years.
Yeah.
That is awesome, man.
And I would go out to LA and stay 2 weeks, a couple of times a year, fly Eddie out a couple of times, you know what I mean? That whole story. And, so he would show me, he would teach me, let his students beat the crap out of me. And then I would just come home and try to remember what he said.
Yeah.
And practice.
Wow. Holy shit.
So, again, for the people that don't necessarily know, Eddie Bravo really created 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, his version of Jiu-Jitsu, because he was training UFC fighters, right? He wanted to, correct me if I'm wrong, jump in, please, if I'm getting this wrong, right? He wanted to create moves or create a type of jiu-jitsu that he could teach these UFC fighters to help them use jiu-jitsu and minimize the amount of strikes they were taking while they were using their jiu-jitsu.
While they're on their back specifically. Yeah, that's the general story for sure.
Yeah.
But specifically, he wanted to address the problem of the guard. Like, why is the guard not delivering? Because in the beginning, the guard delivered in the UFC. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't know jiu-jitsu the first 6 probably UFCs, you were toast.
Arm bars and triangles and get your back and your
rear naked, do whatever. You remember, like, Hoist tapped Ken Shamrock out. He got him from the back. He didn't even have the hooks in. He just, reached around with a seatbelt and tapped him. And so, there was a lot of easy jiu-jitsu going down in the early stages. But then when, Mark Coleman and Dan Severn, well, I guess Dan Severn first, and then Don Fry, and then Mark Coleman, like, these guys start coming in and wrestling all these jiu-jitsu guys to the ground, and they're nullifying the guard as they start to see it. And then the guard not just became less effective, but almost became ineffective. Like, oh God, don't go to the ground with these wrestlers. Mark Coleman's going to headbutt you in the face. You know what I mean? And so over time, Eddie he got obsessed with, like, not reinventing, but I guess refocusing on how to use the guard when we don't have the gi and when people are trying to punch us in the face.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, so, all right. So now we go from you getting your black belt from Eddie Bravo. Were you the first instructor or the first black belt in essentially like the Southeast United States? Is that right?
Yeah, I was actually Eddie's first blue belt in the Southeast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, there was not even another 10th Planet blue belt at that time. And so, all the way up. We were the first school. I was the first black belt in the South. Yeah, all of that.
So, okay, let's fast forward now. You're doing something innovative, like, let's kind of match it up with what Eddie did back then. You started the PGF. I might be jumping forward here. We'll come back.
That's
to some
okay, man.
Yeah.
We'll jump.
Yeah.
I like to jump.
Okay, yeah. So PGF, tell me how this came to be. I was explaining to my producer Bo, who you hear in the background there. Think like NFL-style jiu-jitsu, right? Teams. Right, that's essentially what you. Let's tell everybody what you're doing and how's it been going, because I think you're on your second season, correct?
Yeah, second season starts March 5th.
Okay.
So so what it is there's 8 weeks of consecutive games. So the players play. There's 16 players. Okay. And everybody plays everybody. So you get 15 matches during the regular season. It's all sub only, and 6-minute matches. But you score not on the sweeps and all of that. You score based on how you beat me. So if you beat me with, say, a choke of some variety, we call it a kill. You beat me with a kill, so choke, rear naked, arm triangle, etc., even like baseball bat, whatever. That's 6 points towards the playoff. Okay. If you beat me with a break, we call it a break. So it's a joint lock, catch the wrist, even like a neck crank or whatever. Not a neck crank that could also define as a choke. So, like, that was more of a crank, not that. That's the kill. Mm-hmm. But like an arm lock or a heel hook or whatever, that's worth 3 points towards the playoff. And so over the course of 15 games, it sorts out just like standings in a sports league. Okay. And so, and then the top 8 make a sub on. The playoff is one night, sub only, no time limit.
So they're teams, but are those all team points, or those are team points and individual points? How do the points
So
get awarded?
there's really each individual is his own team for the most.
All right.
If you think of it like that.
Gotcha.
So there's 16 teams, but then we do split them into 2 teams, and we make like a little team game as well. But it's it doesn't affect the league as much as it affects like the fantasy league. Okay. That's where that really. So yeah, we have like a fantasy league for the fans and stuff like that, which made it really addictive for everybody in season 1.
So now season 2 starts the next couple of weeks. March 5th.
Yep.
You're doing this all in your gym right now?
Yeah. So what we did this time is the first time, season 1, you had to be at our gym every Friday night to play your matches. We did it all live.
Okay.
But this time we brought everybody in from, people coming from Texas. We had New York, Florida, Georgia, like wherever.
So it's growing.
And but we packed them all in to the gym, and we stayed here for a week, and we did it all over the course of a week.
Oh, wow.
Like Ultimate Fighter style. And so now we're going to release it 1 week at a time.
Okay. So you have it recorded. You have it recorded already.
It's done. Yeah, it's already done.
Okay. So the March is the a little Netflix
March is the
style
debut.
here.
Yeah, kind of like Ultimate Fighter sort of.
All right. So what's the what? I'm new to watching tournament jiu-jitsu. Probably more because of the podcast. We got involved with Jits King. We were, kind of doing some stuff with them, and I started to understand not, just the local tournament side of it. I'm talking about, fight to win. Like, flow grappling, fight to win. I'm a purple belt. I've been doing it about doing it about 6 years, but always it was. I consider myself a hobbyist. I started at 41. I'm 47. Train as much as I can.
You're 47?
I'm 47. Yeah.
Bro, you look fabulous.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
What I want, whatever your diet.
No, you don't. No, whatever I was doing got me a heart attack 2 years ago. So
okay, I don't want to do that. I've changed my mind. Is Coke Zero okay for heart attack?
I appreciate that, but I'm definitely going to make my wife watch this part because I always tell her
you look
how people.
So young and handsome.
She's got to listen to this.
I'm 40. Look at these ditches in my forehead, bro.
Dude, tell him I got the same thing, man.
It's in the genes, man.
But I'm 53. So.
My parents are in their 70s, and they probably both look about 10 years younger than they actually are. They're
Oh, I thought you were going to say they look 10 years younger than you.
It's in the genes. I did again. I wish I could say, I took such great. It's the genes. The heart attack probably was half. Kind of. Some of my dad's side of the family have heart conditions, and probably the things that I was putting in my body. We won't go too far into that, but I didn't treat my body like the temple that I should have. So I'd probably be.
You were doing some of them 10th Planet supplements.
There was a lot of things, from what was going in the mouth and what was, other. So we'll just leave it there. You understand. I was, living in Florida at 25. You wanted to look your best. Word. Let's say that.
Different man. You're a different man.
But that's all long gone. But I forgot where I was going to go. I'm so. It doesn't matter. I'm so flattered. He's telling me how handsome I am.
Dude, that's my secret. That's how I actually got my black belt.
Telling Eddie how handsome he is.
It has nothing to do with my skill set, bro.
I really did forget where I was going with what I was saying.
It doesn't matter. Let's just run.
Let's. So I'm kind of curious about. So you got your setup there in the podcast. I know you did the BMAC show, and I didn't do enough research to check out the kitchen techniques. I did see a couple of videos. I wanted to, let's start with the kitchen techniques. What was that about? You were doing like techniques in the kitchen with your wife or something? What are those about?
That's just how I spaz out. And I'm just a weirdo.
And somebody gets it on video?
Yeah, and I can't. I'm just a spaz. That's what it is. And I'll start getting excited, and I'll just start,
I saw those kicks. I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely done some other martial arts. Those kicks were getting. I can't get my leg up that high anymore. I'm like the more I do jiu-jitsu, the less flexible I become. I don't know why that is. I've definitely got to do a lot more stretching.
It's like a different flexibility, right? Like, yeah. But like for jiu-jitsu, my hips are super open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I feel like my hamstring and like my straddle stretch is not what it used to be when I was kicking all the time and stuff.
Yeah. So the BMAC show, what was that? Are you still doing that? Is that coming back, or is that something that?
Yeah, that's gonna come back.
Yeah. Yeah,
we did one season, and it was it's just like a vlog.
Yeah.
just I travel a lot, go to different gyms I used to for seminars, and I'm do a lot of commentary and stuff. So I have a full-time camera guy here that just every day not every day, but he kind of just documents what happens here, and if I go on the road, he goes with me, and we just.
Bill, you want to do that? I need somebody to do that.
You need a fly on the wall.
I need
camera.
you to follow me around.
Honestly, that's the best money I've ever spent on my business.
Yeah, is that where now one of my favorite things? This is the truth, and as we had the conversation about having you come on, the 1 minute jiu-jitsu hacks. Which I don't know if you're still calling it that. It looks like the newer ones just say BMAC, right? Those are incredible. For a guy like me, like I'm always again, as a bigger guy, I'm always looking at like, I'm not a berimbolo guy. I'm not, I'm not going inverted. I'm usually trying to get on top, or again, lockdown is kind of my thing. I've got a great north-south choke. I've got the things that I do. So I'm always looking at the little things that could make what I know better. I definitely came from the school of learn the basics and then kind of, get the trick. And those videos, I'm like, the one that I saw yesterday, and you could probably demonstrate it better than me, was about putting in the rear naked, the order of putting in the arms. Oh, yeah. Going in here. I'm looking at it going, why doesn't no one else know this? Why am I just hearing this now after almost 7 years doing jiu-jitsu?
I've never heard it.
It seems so basic. Can you just show it on the screen, right? Yeah. Can you just show it like what you kind of do?
That's a neck.
That's a neck. Okay.
That's a neck.
Here's the way most people do a rear naked choke.
Yeah.
And a lot of times this is the way I still do a rear naked choke. I go around the neck, step one, and then I get the bicep in some way, and then I go behind the head, and that's step three. So go 1, 2, and then 3 in some way, right?
Yeah.
You could, there's different configurations.
And a lot of time, you're starting to fight with the head, trying to get the hand behind.
Yeah, and you can't get back there, and then they start to peel this down in the meantime.
Usually they're going to hand fight, and they're going to give you a little bit of trouble with trying to get the hand back there.
They go 2-on-1 in this hand, they start pulling it away, and you're like, I'll never get a chance to lock it.
Yeah.
So what I started doing is I would go 1, and then I'll take this little grip here, and I'll latch onto the back, like a rock climbing hook, and I'll latch onto the clavicle or the scapula right there, and just latch on and close my elbow down like that. And so the order of operations goes 1, and I latch on, and when they go to put their hand there, I slide that hand behind their head, step 3 first, and then I roll it over, and it lands right there. Dude, that's a game-changing hack for me.
I haven't rolled since I saw that. I think I just saw that one yesterday, and I'm like, I got to get into the gym. I went away last weekend, came home with a cold, so I'm just getting over that cold, so I didn't want to go train today. Maybe I'll take tomorrow off, but next week. That's it. Literally, if anyone listening, you've got to go check out BMAC's page. Go ahead and give me your Instagram, because I know that's where I'm catching a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, Instagram's brandonmc.ninja, Facebook, website.
Just
YouTube,
Google Brandon Mccaghren.
brandonmc.ninja.
So I'm dying to show that one. The other one that I love is, especially like when I'm rolling with a lower belt and I might like give them something, is when you showed the defense to somebody's, you're in an armbar, somebody's got your armbar, you might be holding on your hands, and the way that you put your hand on your head instead of doing the figure 4 behind their leg. Again, that's something that I always do. I'll just catch them there and I'll let them fight me for a little while, and and usually kind of pop out. But I like that one where they can't put their head across they can't get their leg across your face or your neck. Again,
they're not able to.
It seems like such a basic thing that, again, it's like, why hasn't anybody showed this to me before?
I actually learned that from Hicks and Gracie.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, he was like, everybody do an arm lockage defense, and they just to put the hand. When I put the hand to the man, I just, yes. And the trick that you don't see on that video is it's not just this, but you walk like you're gonna the same rock climbing hook right now. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yeah.
And you latch on, let the elbows rise like that.
Yeah.
Dude, very, very. That's not like there's ways around it, of course, just like everything.
Yeah.
Counter, and move around. And
Felipe
stuff.
says for every level, there's another level.
Of course. Dude.
Yeah. So I always thought I was really sneaky because I would get the hands here, let them get comfortable with maybe getting their leg across my face and just push their leg up, pop out.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought I had the trick already. I thought I knew that I had the secret sauce. And now I saw that video. So if anybody out there, you got to check out these 1 minute jiu-jitsu hacks, either on your Instagram or on Facebook or on YouTube. Amazing. Again, haven't trained a lot because I was away. I'm already like
getting itchy, dude.
waiting to get back in there. So yeah, go check those out, everybody. They're again, I really think they're game changers, and they're so basic. It's kind of just like a head scratcher most of the time. It's like, but that's so obvious. How come I'm not learning that in my gym? Sorry, Felipe. I don't want to throw you under the bus. I love you,
Felipe. You suck. I'm just kidding. Hey, don't hurt me, Felipe. That was a joke.
So
y'all can cut that part out.
Yeah. We definitely not. I'm gonna cut that into a snippet. And I'm gonna send it to him in his Instagram. I'm gonna make it a
blow
live.
my knee out with an electric chair.
I'm gonna send it to him, and I'm gonna put it as a live video on my Instagram.
Put somebody else's face on my face though when you do it. Like you won't believe what Keenan Cornelius said about you, coach.
So let's talk about leg locks a little bit.
All right.
You know, I'm not sure. You know, I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing tournaments. They're competing,
definitely.
Right? What are your thoughts on the new rules, the changes, you know, to the IBJJF rules for brown and black? Thoughts? Is it a long time coming? Should have always been this way? What are you thinking?
I'm excited about the change.
Yeah.
I wish they did it for masters too. I guess I get it. But yeah, I think there's going to be a shakeup at the top for maybe a couple of years. But I don't think it's going to change that much just because of the way the rules are incentivized and stuff. I don't think it's going to change as much as people think, because the best guys are going to adapt to it quickly. Just, you know, how the metas go, man. Like I remember when deep half guard was like the hot new thing. And now that's like base curriculum almost for every white and blue belt in the country knows a little bit of deep half guard. And then 50-50 was the hot stuff. And, you know, like the meta shifts.
Yeah.
So as long as you're staying on top of the game, it doesn't take long to learn that. If you know jiu-jitsu, like we're crazy if we think that Mikey Musumeci is not going to be up on the reaping and the honey hole entries within about 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be some shakeups. There's going to be some new guys at the top that couldn't have gotten there without the heel hook rules. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll see some of Donaher's guys and some of the 10th Planet guys starting to podium for the first time. Mm-hmm. Or not the first time, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like maybe gold a couple of times for the first time. But I don't know that we're going to see the teams shake up at the top necessarily. Just kind of how I feel about it. I think you have to know leg locks, though, to do the modern no-gi game. Like, you have to do it.
Is there a standing rule? Like, I mean, in the gyms that I've experienced, I've been at 2 gyms. One was a startup gym, and then now I'm with Fight Sports under Felipe. I can't say it's like really set in stone, but when do you start teaching leg locks? For 10th Planet, is it like day one, you're learning, you know, defense and you're learning just different leg lock techniques? It's not like you're going to wait till this amount of years or this belt. No.
So at my gym, we do it just a little bit different, but you learn everything from day one. Like there's no part of jiu-jitsu you're not allowed to explore and discover and start training. But if you're a white belt at my gym, at HQ, there's no rules about it. You know, most of the 10th Planet schools, there's no rules. You're a white belt, you can do heel hooks. But at my gym, we practice them, we teach them, we drill them. You can enter the positions all you want during training, but you're not allowed to apply a twisting lock or to have one applied to you during the live rolling.
Okay.
But
Smart.
at blue belt, it's all go.
Yeah. What do you think about the gyms? What are your thoughts on a gym that goes by that old school rule where it's you're not learning anything below the belt till you're, you know, kind of 2-stripe purple or maybe even a brown? I mean, that's just the way it used to be.
You know what, man? There's a lot of different ways to skin the proverbial cat.
Yeah.
So I definitely support people not teaching stuff they don't understand.
Okay.
So I definitely support that. So if there's a coach, and there's a lot of black belts that don't understand the leg locks.
Yeah.
Like still, they do,
Yeah, I agree.
Like they don't even conceptually understand them, much less like have technical understanding of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I support those guys not teaching leg locks in their
Yeah.
school because they're going to pass bad information.
Yeah.
But I hope that those schools are humble enough to go, listen, this is not what I do. It's not the way we do it here. Just like what Jamie did with me. Listen, dude, I don't know nothing about no-gi jiu-jitsu, but this Eddie Bravo guy is teaching. You need to go learn from him. And when you get some info that's important, I want you to bring it back here and share it with me. So I would hope that if I know there are still schools out there where, there are banned techniques, or you can't do that 10th planet crap in here. You can't do heel hooks in here. I would hope that the instructors are humble enough to understand their own limitations and not potentially limit their students' growth because of their own limits. You know what I'm saying? Like I want my students to be better than me. So yeah, I mean, I support, there's a lot of different ways to do jiu-jitsu, man. So I don't think you have to know leg locks to be a black belt, but if you want to compete with the guys who are at the top right now in no-gi, you can't just, oh yeah, I understand leg locks a little bit. Like, no, you have to have the mastery. Yeah. Like there has to be a mastery, just the same way you have to have a mastery of a reverse De La Riva guard or to play at the top now or whatever, man. Like the game's a lot bigger than it was when I was a blue belt,
Yeah. So, my perception on it is that along the same route that you're saying, I've always thought of it like this. It's not just about learning how to apply those. It's the defense. And if you're not teaching the defense to something, that's when your guys are going to start to get hurt, especially when it comes to, leg locks and heel hooks, things like that. I think that's where most people get in trouble. Whoever really shows the defense first, like, okay, look, I'm going to show you this position. Know to roll this way. I think that's where a lot of people get in trouble, and that's where guys like me who used to just get on YouTube and then bring a move into the gym that wasn't taught to him by his coach. That's where I would get into some trouble. I heard somebody with a can opener one time, just in his guard and didn't understand that how bad that was, and he was out for over a month with the back injury. So I think it's it's giving your students a clear understanding of, like, bring me the technique you're going to do first. I'm not going to tell you not to do something, but bring it to me. Let me make sure that that I could tell you how to do it the correct way, and more importantly, make sure that you understand the defense to something. I think that's where a lot of gyms fall short. Is guy comes in and the purple belt's over there in the corner, showing somebody how to do a heel hook, but he's not telling him how to get out of that heel hook. I just think that's where a lot of coaches fall short. When I see people get hurt, we've got people that come into the gym all the time on our open mats. We do open mats every Saturday. The other day we had a couple of black belts. We had 3 visiting black belts all get hurt in the same open mat. But different. What? One was a back injury. One like a big dude fell on a guy's leg. I think I have this theory of, I always like to get to know somebody before I roll with them.
Before you hurt them.
When a stranger comes into the gym, I haven't had good experiences with strangers coming into the gym, and there's a little bit of that. You don't know the person, especially you do no-gi. Somebody shows up, you don't know what belt they are. You have to have a conversation. Okay, this is how we do things here. I had a guy literally like try to take my shirt and like wrap it around my head when I was because I used to wear a t-shirt over my rash guard. And I'm like, we're flowing. I'm flowing. He's not. He got pissed off because my shirt was wet. It was just like, all right, I take my shirt off. Let's roll. It just these odd things have happened when a stranger comes in and you don't know them. So I just kind of have this new rule. Usually like to get to know somebody, even if it's in one session. Sit there. Hey, how you doing? Where you from? What belt rank are you? Hey, this is what we do here. Because we do usually flow like a open mat. We'll usually do at least one flow round. But there are guys in the gym that, a guy that I know, we know that we're not going to flow with each other, and we'll say it before we start rolling. But if I start
rolling,
rolling,
about to pull your head off.
We're not. We'll look at each other, wink, and be like, we're not going to flow, right? Or do you really want to flow? Some guys will be like, I didn't get to warm up today, I haven't stretched. Let's flow. So I've just seen it happen too much, and love my gym to death. Literally, that happened where we had 3 visiting, and they were all black belts, all get hurt in different ways
That's
with
insane.
rolling with strangers. They weren't even rolling with us. They were rolling with each other, and they got hurt. But I think it's kind of an ego thing. It's like they're rolling too hard and they're doing things that they would normally do, and not having that conversation. Hey, why don't we flow together? We don't know each other. But I mean, that's my take on it. I'm, just coming back from blowing out the knee, so I'm probably a little bit more cautious than most guys. But
what I do, man, is if I am in a situation, so like, let's say you show up at my gym. How big are you?
I'm 235, about 5'11".
So yeah, I'm 5'8", 175, and I'm fat at 175. You know what I'm saying? So, so you come to my gym. Oh, what's up, Brandon? Man, let's slap, let's bump, and let's go. When I feel that, we're trying to figure it out kind of energy coming off of you, especially if I know you're a purple belt or something, like you said, you're a purple, especially if I know that, I'm going to almost certainly let you get one over on me first. So look at how I'm playing the game with you. Look how it's okay for me to give to you during the training, and I will lead like that. And I'll take the first hit to the ego if that's what this situation needs. I'll take the first one. And then a lot of times, man, once a guy feels that, they kind of go, oh, shoot, I was being a turd and I didn't realize it.
Okay.
Oh, I see. He's here to train with me, not to show me he's the king, which is correct. I really don't care if you think I already know I'm good. I don't care what you think about my game. So it's fine for you to beat me. So go ahead. If you need to beat me to get that out of your system so that we can train together, go ahead, man. Yeah. And it softens the mood of the training dramatic. Now it's not always time for that. But like, you're a visiting purple belt. It is time for me to, like, I'll honor you and I'll give preference to you, and I'll move first as the servant to you and your needs. And that really, it just changes the attitude of the training almost every time.
Yeah. I again, I'm 7 years in, and what, my take on it is, again, with a lot of white belts, I'll usually let them dictate the pace. I'll elevate if they need to, if they're elevating, I'll usually, again, if it's a white belt and they're new, I'm going to tell them, hey, we can slow it down a little bit. If they don't heed that advice, I do maybe the opposite of what you just said there, where I'm going to submit them and let them know, look, okay, if you're going to be that crazy and wild, this is what I can do to you. And almost always with the low belt, if I catch them once in a roll, then I'll go defensive. I'll let them, I got you. Okay. Now go ahead, practice.
Yeah, so that's the same
back,
thing.
Let them take my back.
Just flip the other way. Yeah. That's the same thing. Flip the other way. You just want to make sure they understand first.
Yeah.
I don't care if you understand. I already understand.
Yeah.
I already know I'm good. So it doesn't matter if you think I'm good.
Yeah.
I already got it.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just came to train. So yeah, I think that's a great way too, man. Ultimately and this is hard to do, it takes a long time to get to this place, I think, but you'll, if you're not there already, you're going to be there in a couple of years. Like, you come at me like a savage. I not only do I not come back at you with the same energy, but I want to come at you soft and still beat you.
Yeah.
And it's just so much more instructive. Like, it's a display of the beauty of jiu-jitsu on a whole new level. Like, oh, this 175-pound bald kid, he's flipping me around and he's having a conversation. He's not even paying attention to me, and he's dumping me on my head and choking me, and that's usually a more powerful testament to the power of jiu-jitsu than anything else that I can do.
Yeah, I have a story about one of my co-hosts. It's usually, the podcast started before COVID as a roundtable. So I'd have like 4 or 5 guys come in, usually like a guest, like Felipe was one of our first guests, like episode 3 or 4, but it was always a roundtable, always in-house. We didn't really do Zooms until after COVID hit, but it would always be, just a discussion of jiu-jitsu. One of my training partners, Miguel, who's a recent blue belt, he was so funny, and he is a student of not only UFC and MMA. He's very much into UFC, got into jiu-jitsu, wrestled in high school, military background. Great. Just not only is he funny, but a student of the game, probably knows more. He could talk more technically about jiu-jitsu than some brown belts that I know.
Awesome.
So we invited him in, and one of the first, when he was a white belt, we were rolling, just getting to know each other. And he was going pretty hard, and we were rolling, and I submitted him a couple of times. And again, I just didn't know each other really well yet.
Sure.
We rolled, and halfway through the roll, he says, "Hey, do you mind if I go 100%?" And I've always we've joked about it. I said, in that moment, I said to myself, "This motherfucker is telling me that he's been taking it easy on me." That's the way I took it in the moment. I said, "This mother," and he went 100%, and I submitted him faster than I did all of the other times.
Yeah, because he just sucked, but he sucked faster.
I wish he was here to. He'll hear this. He'll hear this. And again, in that moment, I always talk about how jiu-jitsu. You really do need to leave your ego at the door, but it creeps in with everybody. It's going to creep in every once in a while. And in that moment, I took it wrong. But it's this one. I mean, I didn't try to hurt him. It just, he actually gave it to me faster because he was just very sloppy. Again, wrestling background, but new white belt. And so we always have that joke, and we've talked about it a lot on the show. And it was just kind of funny how, he went harder and he just got so slow. He just gave it to me. So I always have this kind of weird take on the ego side of things because I admittedly say I'm still learning that side. And it speaks to what we're talking about here in that I'm not great at letting people submit me or letting that guy that's going hard, like giving it to him. I kind of can't let them. It creeps in every once in a while. Now that doesn't happen with higher belts. And look, I'm not the best purple belt in my gym. I'm the oldest guy in my gym. I'm the heaviest and the oldest guy in my gym. So
my dog.
I'm like, woohoo. But I kind of always have that, and it does happen a lot of times.
Well, do you think you're the heaviest guy in the gym?
I'm the heaviest. Well, I should say I'm the heaviest guy. I'm the heaviest consistent guy to the gym. We have the occasional guy that comes back after being out for a while, But yeah, I'm probably the heaviest guy in my gym.
Our gym, we call it. So we got like a 3,000 square foot mat space.
I saw it's pretty big.
And the back corner by where the garage, the bay door opens, we call that Beef Alley. Everybody that trains back there is over 270.
Really?
There's probably 10 guys this corn-fed white boys trying to play Alabama football. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
Dude, there are some monsters. We got at least 2 guys every night over 300 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Insane, bro.
Now, I've got some younger kids in there that work, beefy, big guys. There's probably a couple of guys right at my weight now. Again, white belts that are newer. But as far as consistency, I've been there now with Felipe 5 years. We've had some big guys come and go. But as far as active, consistent, I'm usually the oldest and the biggest guy. Most of our old timers, we've had a few old timers come and go too. But at 47, I believe I'm still the oldest. Every once in a while, I gotta remind Felipe, hey, I'm older than you. I'm older than you. I think he just turned 40.
Just let him know.
Yeah, I gotta let him. Let's take it easy on me. I'm an old guy. I'm an
old man.
I'm old. I have a heart condition. Take it easy on me. Hey, what are your thoughts on? Have you seen? I don't know how much Flow Grappling do you watch? Do you watch much?
Yeah, I like Flow Grappling. Yeah.
Did you watch that little special they did on like the American Jiu-Jitsu versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. I just watch the matches usually. I don't watch the shows too much.
Yeah.
I like to watch the rolling, the training. I like that better than the matches.
Yeah. I like I forget his name, but there's a kid that does something like Fix My Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I like those. I learn more from kind of, and why I've taken to your videos. I like I need a little bit more of the technical side. I like to when my coach, when Felipe's showing a move, I'm the guy that's walking around the other side because I need to see where his foot is. Where is that hand that I'm not seeing from this side? I need to see that, and I need to see it a couple of times, and that's how I learn. So watching stuff like that, like when it's like the Fix My Jiu-Jitsu and somebody is actually, okay, so you're doing this wrong, put this here. That's how I like to learn, so I really take to that style. But I love those. They did a show, American versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Just the naming of it, I kind of feel like 10th Planet kind of falls into that American side. It's like, hey, this was kind of created here. Do you have a stance on, I don't care what they call it, or I see the difference between American Jiu-Jitsu and Brazilian? No, don't care. Doesn't matter.
Dude, I don't care at all.
Yeah.
You don't have to call it jiu-jitsu. I don't care at all. Yeah. I mean, the principles of any grappling art are the same, whether it's judo or sambo or whatever. The principles are balance and weight distribution and leverage and timing and perseverance and patience. Like, those things are true in every discipline. So it don't matter if it comes from America or Brazil. If I don't have those things, I'm not going to win.
Yeah.
So I think just maybe the cultural side of things or the training methodologies are different based on some, the rule sets inform the training. It's like, even though judo and jiu-jitsu are basically the same thing, the rule sets make them very different in some ways.
Yeah.
And then if you take the gi off in either one of those, then and add leg locks in, then everything changes again, and that's going to inform the training as well. But the things that make you successful or unsuccessful never change.
Yeah. What do you think of combat jiu-jitsu?
That's my favorite.
Is it? Yeah. I haven't, I've only seen like highlights. I've never watched a full event. I know that there's one coming up in March. I think March 27th.
Cancun.
Yeah.
Cancun.
Yeah. One of my sponsors he sponsors Marcelo Cohen. One of the sponsors of the show. Yeah. So we're trying to have him on the show, but we were waiting till we could have guests in studio again. Till kind of the whole COVID thing
when
passed.
You see him, man, tell Marcelo I said what's up. I really like that guy.
Yeah, he's a
squirrely little sucker. He's about that big.
I didn't notice how small he was. I haven't met him face to face yet. I didn't notice how small he was till I saw him training in a video training with Wagner. He was down at Wagner's place down here in Miami in Pembroke Pines, and
he's
then
the size of one of Wagner's legs. You could fit him in your shirt and smuggle him into training. Nobody would know. You could have him hiding. You could have Marcelo Cohen hiding in your gi, and then you jump on top and like let him out, and then he could submit him, and then he jump back in. You should try that.
He seems like a really nice guy. We're definitely going to have him on. Man. Like I said, we want to have him in studio. He wants to come in again once we get to these the jiu-jitsu roundtables again.
He's got a sick Kimura game, dude.
Yeah. And funny enough, that's what he was showing. That he was kind of he was in a position showing everybody else something.
Yeah, I was calling him a tournament in San Diego. I was doing commentary on a tournament in San Diego one time, and it's called Ultimate Mat Warriors. Richie Martinez puts it on.
Okay.
Or I don't know if he's playing on.
Is it Boogeyman?
Yeah,
Boogie.
Yeah. You know those guys?
I don't. Not personally. I know of them, and I know they were at the first Jits King event I went to in Miami. Before the pandemic, he was down there.
They're
I was
the most
fanboying
cuddly,
a little bit.
Boogie is like the cuddliest dude in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He's the huggiest, nicest. Like, he looks like he's a savage, and he is a savage killer on the mats. Off the mats, he literally couldn't be he couldn't be nicer. He's like Jesus, dude. But anyway, Marcelo was in one of his tournaments, and he locked up a Kimura at several times during the course of the tournament. I was just like blown away by his connection and his understanding of like just simple leverage. It so good. He's so good. Yeah,
I got to catch that event. I got to catch it because I'm judging it from the outside going, wow, that looks just kind of, it looks strange. I want to see a whole event. And, I've probably seen
combat jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I want to see the whole event.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different. What I love about it the most is there's a layer of honesty laid over the top of it that's not there with, like you mentioned berimboloing a little earlier.
Yeah.
Look, I like berimbolo. I'll berimbolo somebody, dude. I'm not scared of it. Mm-hmm. But not if you're going to hit me. I'm not going to approach it with the same, I'm just going to approach my stances are going to feel different. Where I put my head in some positions is going to be different. I'm going to clinch you more if you can hit me than just flowing around you and double butt scooting. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to prioritize top position. It's just a layer of honesty closer to a fight. Mm-hmm. And so, but without the same consequences. Mm-hmm. So I can hit you hard enough to make you respect and move as if I had put my knuckles or my elbow on you, but I don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about the consequences the same way. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so we get to study what is true and what is not true when striking is involved on the ground without having to, sit each other on the sidelines for 2 weeks with a head injury.
So is this combat jiu-jitsu organization, is that Eddie's?
It is, yeah.
It's Eddie's, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm the commentator, so I get to go fly to Cancun.
Oh, you're going. You're going to be
every
there.
couple of months.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm there every time.
Oh,
I'm there every time.
That was going to be my next question. You mentioned you're commentating. Is it just Eddie's, or do you comment? You mentioned another organization.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of different organizations, but I'm the full. I don't want to say full time is not the right word, but I do it every time for combat jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And EBI.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. All right, look, I've got a couple of questions. We've got some listener questions, and then we've got some speed round questions that we throw in.
Let's go.
So first of all, this isn't a question, but we had this. The username is Harley512, Harley Moon. I'm not sure if you're going to know these names.
I know Harley.
Harley,
yeah,
okay. He said, Ethan is a black belt at Triad Martial Arts in Cullum under Daniel O'Brien. And he and Brandon look a lot alike, and they share the same birthday, so we joke around with him a lot. He wanted me to tell you that.
Same birthday?
He says he's got the same birthday as you. And then he sent me the picture, and I saw the picture. I'm like, okay, that he could pass for Brandon. Have you guys competed against each other as well? Did he say you guys?
Yeah. We competed against. He was the last guy that I competed against at brown belt.
Okay.
Before I got my black belt.
All right. Do you still? Are you done with competing tournament style, or do you still compete once in a while?
No, I'm definitely done. I had a surgery on my neck at brown belt, and that effectively retired me. I tried to come back a couple of times. I accepted matches a couple of times at black belt. I just can't. I can't do the explosive work that needs to be done anymore, and so I can't represent what I'm capable of anymore.
Okay,
and so I just took my focus away from competing.
It
never really moved my spirit in the first place. I did it because I thought it was important. I did it because Eddie thought it was important, and I competed a lot, man. I competed I won a lot. I'm not some world champion. I'm definitely not a world champion, but I competed a lot, had a lot of success, especially in the Southeast. But yeah, it just competition. It's not the part of martial arts that excites me.
Okay.
I'm a dork, dude. I like the art.
Yeah. I love coaching. I love coaching and teaching. I love when somebody, younger than me or, a lower belt, it's like, hey, man, you caught me in that thing. Right now I'm working on a north-south with a kid from he's just big dude, started taking the adult classes. And every once in a while we'll roll and he'll ask me, he's very specifically fallen in love with the north-south choke. So he'll ask me little details every once in a while, like, hey, I'm doing this and I didn't get this guy or I caught this guy. So that's the part that I love. Because at 47, I don't know how much more competing I'm going to be doing either,
Yeah, so. I just the competition doesn't move me. The glory of winning doesn't move me to train any different.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Here's the way I treat my own personal training. It's like I'm playing pickup basketball every day, dude. Okay. Or I'm just sitting and playing guitar. That doesn't mean that I have to go and play guitar in front of everyone and put on an incredible show to prove to you what a great musician I am, just because I like to sit and play guitar every day. Yeah. I play the guitar. I sit and play my guitar every day because it pleases me to play my guitar every day. That does move me. It does move me in an art way. It inspires me, and so I treat my jiu-jitsu the same way. Why do I still train? I don't train because I'm trying to be the world champion. Why do I train 10 rounds every day or 20 rounds twice a week? Because I love jiu-jitsu, dude. I just want to train, bro. Yeah. And to me, it's like I'm playing pickup basketball every night. I'm not a pro, but I'm just the best dude I'm holding court out here every night. You know what I mean?
So
but I'm not going to shove you into the bleachers on a loose ball just and pick up basketball. You know what I'm saying? Dude, sometimes we lost the loose ball and you're on offense now. Yeah. And that's okay.
So you said Eddie required that at some point. Do you require that of your guys, or is it totally hey?
I don't require that. Yeah. Eddie didn't require that of me, but it was kind of, growing up playing basketball, it was hey, we got a optional practice over the summer. I can't require you to be here to practice this summer, but you're going to want to show up to practice.
Yeah.
So, and I just knew that if that's what he wanted. Yeah. And so, if he was my coach, man, and if he told me that I had to go and do something crazy to learn, I was down to learn. So, You know, I wasn't gonna follow him into a cult and drink some Kool-Aid or nothing like that. But if Eddie had an opinion on what made your jiu-jitsu better, I still am. I'm all ears. And so that was important to him. That was an important part of his journey. And he just always emphasized it to me and to all of us that he thought it was important, especially if I was going to be leading others. Mm-hmm. I needed to be able to understand what they were going through. Okay. And he was right about that. There are things you can only learn from competition. Mm-hmm. You know, and maybe they're not even things that you need to become a black belt. But there are some things that you can only learn by committing yourself to a process and then going out there and failing miserably. So I tell my students, you have to compete. You got to compete on. Not gotta, but I recommend that you compete until you have 4 specific experiences. You got to prepare yourself as well as possible and go out there and lose. You need to know what that feels like, to have given everything and to have done your best work and to come up short. You need to know what that pain feels like. It's very important. Mm-hmm. But you also need to prepare yourself as much as possible and then go out there and win, because that tells you something totally different. You need that experience too. And then you need to not prepare as well as you should have and go out there and win anyway, because you need to know that you're capable of that. Like, you need to have that experience too. And then you need to not prepare as well as you should have and feel the pain and the sorrow that comes from losing because of that. You need to have that experience too. Once you've had those 4 experiences, you've learned what you needed to learn from competition. Take it or leave it. But I recommend that everybody go and keep going until you've had those 4 experiences.
I like that. That's great advice, man. All right, so I've got another question here from, this is Joseph Kissick. As a new 39-year-old white belt and wrestler, what would some advice, I guess he's saying I'm a new white belt, but I'm a former wrestler.
But I wrestled, yeah.
What would be some advice to work on to keep my wrestling mind from getting me in bad positions in BJJ? And then also on the other side, also what should I keep from wrestling to help my BJJ?
So keep the dog, keep the get on top, stay on top.
Yeah.
And then learn to use your bottom positions to enact your wrestling, to activate, I guess is the better word, to activate your wrestling. So sit down, learn to play the guard to get on top. Generally that's the advice I would give. If I had him here in the room specifically, give him some better specific guidance. Mm-hmm. But those are the general things that I would tell a wrestler that was new.
Very cool.
But keep the dog alive. Yeah. You need that dog, baby. Just don't let the dog drive the bus. You know what I'm saying? You drive the bus and let the dog sit in the passenger seat.
Gotcha. All right. So now we have one from Kai Amarante. Name sound familiar?
Okay.
Do you know Kai? This is Felipe.
Is that the son?
This is Felipe's son. So he says,
how old is he?
He think he's 13, 14 now.
Okay, perfect.
He's competed in Fight to Win twice. He won his he lost his first. He won his second. Felipe's undefeated. He's 3-0. And
I know he always sends me those matches on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, I did that electric kick." And I was like, "I'm gonna share it." He's like, "No, don't share it. I don't want anybody to know."
So he says, best way to do the lockdown on heavier people, which is everyone he trains with.
Yeah, everybody. So you can't be flat on your back trying to play the lockdown, right? That's the major thing. So imagine these are my legs here. Mm-hmm. I'm using my lockdown. I'm flat on my back here. See how flat I am? I don't know if yeah, I'm flat. These are my legs here. I got them locked down. This is the motion that I want to do, where I'm bringing my knees to my face all the time. Mm-hmm. So I lock it down and then I pull my knees to my face, and that shifts my opponent's weight up towards my upper body, and it gets me closer to their hips, and it gives me access to be able to move them now, because it stops making their hips so heavy. So use your lockdown to go underneath the guy. So using the hands to bring him this way. If you got 2 underhooks, you just bring him this way and bring your knees like you're balling up tight, like you're pulling your knees in as you do it. I know you can't see my knees.
No.
It's hard to teach jiu-jitsu on a podcast.
Yeah.
Right. Man, I got to get better at that.
Even better for the people that are listening that aren't seeing the video. They're like, what's going on? What is he doing? Get over to YouTube, everybody.
The two major mistakes that most people make with their lockdown is that they only keep it tight and stretch with it. And just like, oh, my lockdown's painful. Okay, I get it. Your lockdown's painful. But I'm still on top and I'm cross facing you. You know what I'm saying?
You're
like,
only going to tap a white belt with that pain. You're only going to, once they learn, like, oh, nothing's breaking here. Okay, I could take this pain. I could take this pain
and I don't mean to imply that the lockdown isn't dangerous. I actually think the lockdown's kind of one of the more dangerous moves in jiu-jitsu as far as like knee health goes for the opponent. But so people stretch the lockdown and they don't learn to move and whip with it.
Yeah.
So think of the lockdown as a 2-on-1, Kai. The lockdown, just like how in wrestling, if I collar tied you, you would snap me off and you'd sit in that Russian 2-on-1 on my arm and you would guide me to, or Kimura is 2-on-1, right? The lockdown is 2 legs against 1 leg. So use that control to move around the guy the same way you would with like a rolling Kimura. Use that 2-on-1 and that's the connection point. And you're moving around to find the opening. It's either arm lock or Kimura or a back take or whatever it turns into, right? Same thing with the lockdown. But instead of controlling the arm 2-on-1, you're controlling the leg 2-on-1.
There you go. We'll practice that when I come back into the gym, Kai.
Hey, there's a couple of videos.
I'll play the bigger guy.
There's a couple of videos on my YouTube channel that will answer my base. That'll give you my base advice on the lockdown for everybody. Perfect. So go to that, Kai. Go to my YouTube channel and check those out. And then if you have questions, shoot me a DM and I'll do everything within my power to serve you and help you.
Awesome. To beat your dad.
Yeah, we got to take him out.
All right. So those were our listener questions. Now we usually do a speed round towards the end of the episode here where we, these are kind of about 4 or 5 questions that we usually ask everybody, get a different take. It's usually very similar or sometimes the same exact questions. But so if you could go back.
Am I supposed to answer them fast?
No, you don't have to, but I'm not going to jump in and give you like my version and conversate. Take as long as you want. Just kind of, I'm going to throw these at you though as we go. If you could go back in time, what would you tell the white belt you?
Do exactly what you did. Just do it the same way. At white belt, I just fell in love and I started training every day. That's the secret to getting good. It's just mat hours. Stack up those mat hours, dude.
Perfect. Other than achieving the rank of black belt, what is your ultimate goal in jiu-jitsu?
I want to see the world. I want to see every part of it with my wife.
Yeah.
So we're just using jiu-jitsu to travel around and see it all.
Have you traveled? You traveled a lot outside of the U.S. and have you been able to?
Yeah. So I wouldn't say a lot, but I've been with jiu-jitsu to Brazil so far, Mexico, Canada, on this side, and then I'm going to be in Thailand. The plan was to be in Thailand and Australia this year, but that didn't work out yet. But
so when you go, are you doing seminars? Or are you is it traveling just for yourself? I mean, it's all based around jiu-jitsu.
I might do some seminars if I can set them up, but I'll use my website. So I actually don't take a paycheck from my school at all. I just, whatever money the school makes, I turn around and pay the employees or we get new stuff. My living in my home is totally funded with my online jiu-jitsu stuff. So we can go anywhere in the world and just do it from there.
That's awesome.
So that's how we do it. That's the plan.
Okay. All right. So what is the craziest thing that's happened to you on or off the mat or even in your gym? What's the craziest jiu-jitsu related thing that's happened to you?
Craziest? Dude, so back in the day when we were training, I used to get challenge matches all the time. It was just a different world back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like I'm some old head. I've only been training like 15 years, but especially in North Alabama, there was no jiu-jitsu, but there was tons of martial arts and there was tons of fighting, like smokers and underground fighting kind of stuff. Oh, wow. And so we would go and do those things, but we would have people come in, multiple times a week and be like, yo, I want to fight the best guy here. And dude, some of those guys were crazy. Oh, crazy. We used to have this dude that was a total crackhead and he would come and train with us like 3 times a week, but he was legit a crackhead. but he would show up consistently and train. It was wild, dude. It was wild. He was pretty crazy. We got some of that on video. I don't know where that video is, but he brought a guy with him one time that was like methed out. And that guy was just like hitting the bag on the side, and we were filming him. And I had an old MacBook, and it had a camera on it. It was the only, like, we didn't have cell phone cameras. I didn't at that time. And I flipped it around and was just filming him, this guy hitting the bag with my MacBook. It was wild. He was totally methed out, dude. Wow. And then that crackhead guy one time, his name was Toby. I called him Mccaghren. There's no way he's gonna see this, but Toby, if you're seeing this, I don't even mean crackhead derogatory. I just mean a dude who had put crack in his head. Like, that's what you did. You know what I'm saying? It's not derogatory. I love you. But dude, one time, so at old school at Webster's, Jamie had a couple of different guys from other disciplines, and he would give them time to kind of run like an hour a week to kind of run their program at his school, just to have more martial arts in. So he had a Kempo guy, and the Kempo guy had a giant ego, dude. He had this big ego but nothing to back it up. You know what I'm saying? Not to disparage Kempo necessarily, just this particular practitioner. And so one time, the crackhead dude, Toby, decided that he was going to challenge the Kempo guy at the Kempo guy's own rule set.
Oh, jeez.
So he was going to do a Kempo match. He's zero experience in any kind of striking. He's only been grappling crackhead style for like 3 months. And dude, he beat that Kempo dude's butt, just beat him down at the Kempo guy's rule set. That was one of the funniest things that I ever saw.
Correct.
That was interesting.
You haven't seen Toby in a while?
Nah, I don't know what happened to Toby, man.
Oh boy.
He's we've had some wild people come in over the years. Wild.
All right, next question. This is usually the hardest one here. What's your biggest regret as it relates to jiu-jitsu?
Not knowing how to take care of my body as a younger practitioner. Thinking that this is the biggest thinking that go harder means go better. They're not even related necessarily. Because like we grew up playing sports, or not all of us grew up playing sports, but those of us, like I grew up playing basketball and a little bit of football and stuff like that. We're dealing with people who are the equivalent, our coaches are the equivalent of blue belts in high school and middle school, and so when they run into a technical problem in football, they solve it with hit him harder, hustle, get up. We don't drink water in practice. Water makes you like,
yeah.
And so that's the mindset that I came into training MMA with. Like, oh, we're going to do this new sport. It's just like all the other sports. Go as hard, sacrifice my body. But that's not the way you get better. And as I've gotten older and I've had to work around a couple of knee surgeries and a neck surgery, but at the same time, I wasn't willing, and I'm still not willing to be less good than I was. I had to learn to move and work with my injuries rather than through my injuries or around my injuries. I had to let my injuries inform what was possible. So I'll tell you a story that relates to this. My friend Lonnie, he's like one of the big mentors in my life. Lonnie Jones is his name. He teaches rappelling courses like ropes and climbing and stuff. And he was teaching this kid that he's just a story Lonnie told me. He was teaching this kid how to climb. I can't remember what it's called, belay. I don't know anything about climbing, but he's teaching him how to belay. And the kid's got one hand. And Lonnie says, well, man, normally you have to do this with two hands. And he goes, well, normally I just have one. And he said, don't tell me what I can do, what I can't do with what I don't have. Tell me what I can do with what I do have. And taking that philosophy and applying it to my own limitations with my neck, or with my knee, or the various other injuries that I acquired being a knucklehead, coming up, has been really instructive. That's a way of thinking rather than what to do. So if I could go back and tell, like you asked me, go back and tell yourself one thing, that's the only regret I got, is I broke myself getting good at this. And it doesn't have to be done that way.
Yeah. I've answered that question the same way, because we used to ask it of the roundtable group. I've said the exact same thing. And one of the things I wish I realized earlier, I stretch before I leave the house for the gym now. I just got an inversion board. I have the massage gun. I have the right. I have them all. I have the chirp wheel. I'll make sure that I'm ready here before I even step out and get in the car and go to the gym. And I do that when I get back as well. Learning how to take care of my body, and even like I come home, I'll kind of take care of my body again with some of those devices, and then taking a cold shower. That helps me immensely. But I don't train other than Saturdays and Sundays. I do open mats, but I can relax during the day. I'm not going to open mat or going to train, and then the next morning sitting in a chair for 8 hours at my marketing gig. So what I've learned is put a day between trainings. I just have to. At 47, I have to. Or when I didn't do that, my wife would have to push me out of the bed with her foot in the morning. I'd be like, babe, I'm going to get up now. And she'd push me out of the bed. Yeah. I really couldn't. Learning how to even actually like stretching my legs, go to the chiropractor once a week now, get a massage, get the back, taken care of. I didn't do any of those things for the first 5 years. And again, just thought I was the same kid that used to just bounce back from an injury. And now I don't want to say I'm paying for it now, because I feel pretty good the way I'm doing things. But I definitely like.
Well, because you've learned how to train now.
Yeah.
And as you continue to get better and better, you're going to get better and better at getting better.
Yeah.
I want
to be training till I'm dead. I really do want to be on the mat for the rest of my life. We can't.
Anybody who has that aspiration, it's not just about doing the maintenance things like the foam roller and the ice bath, like important, especially as important as you get older. But even more important is learning to train in a way that I still got better, like significantly better. And I still won, but I didn't abuse my body to do that. And just like we were talking about with the white belt, like I don't have to prove to you white belt not you, but like you rando white belt that's rolling. I don't have to prove to you that I'm good at jiu-jitsu. I'm already good. I already know I'm good. And so it doesn't make any difference if you know I'm good. Like if you have a spot where, dude, I'm just going to tough through this white belt squeezing my head. No. I'm going to move and adjust towards comfortability. That was another something that Hickson, that I picked up off of Hickson, is when I do my jiu-jitsu, my objective just to become more comfortable. I just always to get one more comfortable than the other guy. I don't want to ever, imagine jiu-jitsu is a zero-sum game. Like there's only 100 points of comfort to give between the two of us. If you've got 51 points of comfort, I'm behind. But when I take and become more comfortable, you become less comfortable, because there were only 100 points of comfortability to begin with. It's a zero-sum game. So as I focus on becoming more comfortable and taking myself into more and more of a position of strength, or a position where I'm not bound, my movement isn't so bound, just by the act of me taking comfortability, you become more uncomfortable, and the balance starts to tip in my favor. So that's a huge lesson, and something that has become so important to me as I've become older and, a little, I don't want to say wiser, but a little more experienced.
Yeah, I think it's great advice. And again, I take all these little nuggets and I put them in my mental filing cabinet, because I really do want to be on the mat for the rest of my life. I mean, I got a jiu-jitsu t-shirt site. I've got the podcast. I've drank the punch, so everything that I do at my regular job, I can, in my marketing gig, I help implement that and try to make the show more successful utilizing those things. So, it's great advice, man. So last question. And we may not be able to do this question with you. So, do you train in the gi, or have you ever trained in the gi? Like, is it?
I've trained in the gi a lot.
Yeah,
but I've never been a student under someone in the gi.
Okay.
Like I wore the gi for like 3 hours at open mat last week. You know what I mean?
All right.
But I don't normally. I just don't enjoy it as much. I think there's a lot of value to training in the gi. I think the value is a bit significantly overstated.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's no reason to train in the gi. I think if you like training the gi, you should definitely do it. I think there's things you can learn easier by training, like posture, for instance. You have to posture correctly if the guy's grabbing your lapel. Like, you can't do it half-heartedly. And no gi, sometimes you can get away with, but you can't do that but I also think it creates crutches and offensively for a lot of people. And I think you see that when gi exclusive guys try to move into no gi, their movements are still very good. Their defense is often still very good, but they are often very limited offensively when it comes to finishing, because they're so reliant on the friction or the handles that they had, that a lot of times their setups and their controls and connections are off. This is my experience, what I see. So now, and then that works going the other way too sometimes.
So now the question in there, no, thank you. The question in there is, we have this battle on the show. We've had this since we started. Do you wash your gi belt?
Yes.
There you go. Team Wash Your Belt. Thank you very much. We've been having that debate since we started. I'm on the Team Wash Your Belt side. I just wash it for no other reason than it gets dirty, and I wash it just like I wash my underwear. Some guys,
you wash your underwear?
Yep, got to do that too.
Yeah, I don't do that one.
Even wash them together. Wash them together so that the power from the belt, you get it in the underwear. So any of the power you lost from your belt transfers to the underwear.
The booty gets on the belt.
There you go.
Sometimes.
All right, listen, Brandon, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate you. I'm honored to have you here. I truly mean that.
Listen, I'm honored that you wanted to have me back after I flunked out on the time on the first one.
No,
for real, dude, I apologize so much.
You don't have to. Forget about it. Water under the bridge.
We put shit happens under the...
I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. Whatever was going to happen that day, whatever reason we weren't supposed to have the podcast that day, it was a good thing. If you're a good person, good things happen, and I definitely believe it wasn't meant to be that day. So we had a better podcast today because of that. But
I like it.
Awesome. I'll let you say goodbye. Do you want to give any shout outs, sponsors, your event, tell everybody about the PGF, where they can see it, when it's going to be, and where people can find you online.
Yeah, just go to my YouTube or my Instagram or any of the social media stuff, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. I got a Facebook group, a private group. It's got about 5,000 members.
Okay.
It's called brandonmc.ninja.
Okay.
It's just jiu-jitsu dorks. It's super active group, but it's not like a lot of the groups have like a lot of just like memes and drama.
Yeah.
Like we got some memes, no drama.
Yeah.
So if you like that, then find my group on Facebook. But the main thing that I want to push out to everybody is the PGF on my YouTube channel. I think that we've got something really special there, and I think that the community is going to really be excited about it.
Awesome. How did your community react? Last question I'll ask you. How did your community react to the white belt tapping the purple belt, Isaiah? Do you know that whole thing?
Oh,
where
yeah.
you posted online, the micro adjustments and all that?
I was way behind on that, dude. I missed that.
I was too. I was a little bit behind, but I just... one afternoon I was like, what's going on? I saw one of the groups that I'm in, like they shut down, they paused it because of all of the memes, and I got to figure out what this is. And do you have an opinion on it? Did you catch up on it at this point though? Do you know about it?
Yeah, kind of. You know what's funny, dude, is I don't even really use as much as like I put social media stuff out all the time, but I really don't use social media as a consumer that much. So I miss most of that stuff.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it though.
Yeah, I understand the power of social media, especially as a business owner. And like I said, man, I make most of my revenue for my family online. So, I understand the importance of it, but I also don't want to get dragged into flipping through a news feed on any of the apps. Mm-hmm. So I really just post. And then if people reply, I just reply to comments on my stuff. I really don't ever see anything else, to be honest with you. Yeah. So I was like a week behind. So
that's a good way to do it.
And I definitely didn't go back and catch up.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I'm kind of taking Joe Rogan's advice on that a little bit, not because we're some Joe Rogan superstar podcast, more because it just sucks so much time out of your day and can bring you into this negative hole. We've been lucky that we get a lot of good feedback on the show, but just getting caught up in other the drama of the last couple of years, politics, it's a time suck.
It's too much for me. When all the political stuff, especially like with the virus and the whole Trump situation, one side or the other. I'm not a political dude. And so to me, it blows my mind to watch people like pick teams and people that I know for a fact you're cool in person, dude. Like, I know for a fact that you're cool in person. How are you a total doucher online? Like, that doesn't, I can't get it. It doesn't stick in my brain.
It's because the internet
you don't
is
even realize that you're being a douche.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
The internet's like alcohol. The internet's like alcohol. The internet. Yeah. So you get on the internet, it brings out parts of your personality. So if someone's an asshole, he's going to be a bigger asshole on the internet.
Well,
it's the just being on the other side of a screen.
Yeah.
Not sitting here, and even if we're just FaceTiming like this, we'll talk different to each other than we would. I'm much less likely to say something sarcastic in response to you.
Yeah. Well, the old way of it was like, now it's keyboard warriors. We used to call it. I've been doing sales since I was in my 20s. We used to call it the telephone tough guy. Right, you're hot. You're on the other side of it, or when my wife is having road rage, and I'm like, if you got out of this car, you stop, and that guy gets out of his car, you realize he's gonna kick your ass. You're only tough because you're in your 3,000 pound vehicle. This is the only reason why you're tough. Don't do that. That's my same advice for people online. But Brandon, listen, we got to let you go. We're actually going to do another. We're going to be doing another podcast after this in just a little bit. So we're going to.
Who's next?
Yeah, Erin Hurley. She started Submit the Stigma. Do you know who she is?
Cooler than me. Yeah, she's way cooler than me.
So we're gonna take a little break, and then we're gonna come back with her in a little bit on your episode 37. She's gonna be episode 38. But listen, we really appreciate you being here. Thank you. I'm honored to have you on. I really appreciate you doing this. No worries about missing that first one. That is water under the bridge. This will come out sometime next week. I'll obviously tag you when we put it out. We do obviously the sound and the video, so I'll make sure that I get you a message. But thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
My honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. You take care. Have a great weekend, man. Bye-bye.
Cool.
All right, man. Awesome dude. So we're going to let's do a little housekeeping, and then we're going to take a little breather. So stick with us, everybody. We're going to, if I can get my my logo scroll up, we'll put our logos on for our sponsors. So great dude, man. Really great dude. And when I say I'm honored to have him on, if you don't know who Brandon Mccaghren is, I mean, just do a little Google search. You got to check out those 1-minute jiu-jitsu hacks. Amazing techniques. You're going to just kind of like kick yourself going, I didn't realize that was there. But let's do our little bit of housekeeping, and then we're going to break and do another podcast in a little bit. So check out the new GoFundMe link in the description in either the podcast sound or the YouTube video, or you could just go to @JiuJitsu Dummies on Instagram, click the link in our bio, and it'll take you to all the different ways you can support. If that's all too confusing, you can actually just donate from our Instagram page, our foundation page, at the JJD Foundation, or on Facebook, just type it all out, facebook.com/the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Foundation. We're going back to doing for every $50 you donate, you'll get an embroidered belt from Flow and Roll, or a podcast mug, one of the mugs that you see on the table here, right? You want to show that, Bo?
Yep.
So you'll get a mug or an embroidered belt, again, for every 50. So if you donate 100, you choose what you want, all right? Check out the podcast store. We got these cool new shirts. Our new podcast tees, the one that I gave Bo at the beginning of the show, is there as well. Lots of different colors. Podcast store is jiu-jitsudummies.shop, 15% off with code JJD. Ranked rash guards, tees, still got face shields up, backpacks, coffee mugs, lots of different swag. Free shipping on orders over $50. And Fightback CBD, get 20% off your CBD order at fightbackcbd.com with code JJD. Don't forget, you could support the foundation on Amazon Smile. So again, you can go to our Instagram at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, and you can see instructions for the setup. Just go into your Amazon app, go into the settings, switch it over to Amazon Smile. Everything's exactly the same, but you donate like 0.05% of each purchase, goes automatically to the foundation, where we award scholarships to kids, first responders, and veterans. Okay? I'm Milton Campus. Again, Uncle Milty BJJ on Instagram. If you forgot, right? You can get me at Uncle Milty BJJ on Instagram. Sorry, going so fast, everybody. But again, we're going to take a little break and do another podcast after this. So want to take a little time to take a breather. Thank you again for watching, everybody. Stay safe. Oos.
Oos.
Woo.
Woo.